Hello fans! If you watch my channel frequently, you would know that I recently went on a trip exploring the American state of Missouri. For those who didn't hear about the trip, I visited two new cities. I've already made videos on the first city, St. Louis, and the other city I visited was Kansas City, which today's video is about. In this video, I'll share my experience visiting Kansas City, Missouri as a skyscraper and city nerd, along with a short review at the end, and some interesting facts. So, hello everyone, and welcome to another amazing episode of The Wandering Skyline. To start this video off, I wanted to discuss my experience. If you'd like to skip straight to the review, check the top comment. Just know you might miss some interesting facts. Alright, now let's actually get started. The first thing I did was travel about 230 miles from St. Louis to Kansas City in a rental car. The drive took roughly 4 hours, which isn't too bad, at least from what I imagined, since I can't drive yet. Nothing went wrong, if I remember correctly, and it was pretty much smooth sailing. The drive was also very scenic, since eastern and western Missouri look completely and surprisingly different, making it fun to compare the two sides of the state. After arriving into the city, we checked into our Airbnb, which was a part of a high-rise apartment building. It was a really nice place with a lot of fun amenities, including a game room with air hockey, pool, and more. However, there was an annoying unexpected fire drill one night that was pretty loud and annoying. Still, overall, it was a pretty cool place to stay. The next day, we visited the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, previously known as the Negro League Hall of Fame. I would absolutely recommend this museum to any baseball fans, as it includes a ton of history, from the league's beginnings to many notable players. If you're into baseball or American sports history, this is definitely a must visit. After that, since Kansas City is known for its barbecue, we stopped at a barbecue restaurant. I'm not much of a food fanatic, but I still thought it was pretty good. Later in the day, we visited Kauffman Stadium, home of the Kansas City Royals. The Royals, which were formed after the Kansas City Athletics left for Oakland, which is honestly pretty sad, especially considering they're now leaving Oakland for Las Vegas. Personally, I'm not a big fan of Kauffman Stadium, mainly because of its location. It's far from the city, and while I understand they wanted it near the Chiefs Stadium, it means there's no skyline view, which is not the most important thing in terms of stadium, but it was pretty disappointing for me. The next day was dedicated entirely to recording and exploring the city, and it ended up being my favorite day of the trip. It was our last full day before leaving, but we spent most of the day walking, starting at the Airbnb and making our way through the city. Eventually, we reached the Kauffman Center for the Performing Arts, which offers an amazing view of the Crown Center District, another district in the city that has its own unique skyline. Later on, we spotted cicada killers, and since I find wasps fascinating and misunderstood, it was actually really cool seeing one. We eventually made our way to the Kansas City Power and Light District, grabbed food, visited an incredible milkshake bar with a great view, and finished the day at a viewing area overlooking the city.
That pretty much sums up my experience in Kansas City, Missouri. Overall, I think it's an amazing city. While atmospherically, compared to St. Louis, Kansas City feels more modern, especially when it comes to the downtown area. However, one could also make the argument that Kansas City is a good mixture of both modern and older style architecture, which I do touch on later in the video. But I personally prefer St. Louis because of its complete historic look. But Kansas City's taller buildings do make it a tough comparison. Kansas City also does feel way more spread out, which does hurt walkability. But on the positive side, it felt much cleaner. Both cities also have great museums, so I'd call it a tie overall. Where one city falls short, the other city picks up. Now, since I'm also a skyscraper channel, I feel it's important for me to discuss the skyscrapers, as Kansas City has some good ones, especially with the skyline being, like I said earlier, a clash between stunning modern architecture and brilliant vintage architecture. Kansas City also has 9 skyscrapers, or 9 buildings over 390 feet. However, some people do consider a skyscraper 490 feet or 150 meters and above, but I personally believe it should be 390 feet, as in my opinion, 490 feet can be pretty exclusive for smaller cities. But some notable skyscrapers in Kansas City over 390 feet, which is my metric, include buildings such as the first one I'd like to go over, the Oak Tower. Well, technically not a skyscraper, it's actually smaller than 390 feet, but it is a brilliant building from the 1920s. It was actually once the tallest building in Kansas City. It actually held the record from 1929 to 1931. Also, another notable skyscraper is the Kansas City Power and Light Building, which actually took the record of the tallest building in the city, from the previously mentioned Oak Tower. So as you can guess, it was made in 1931. It is 481 feet and was the tallest building for multiple decades. Finally, we have the One Kansas City Place, the tallest building in the city, which perfectly fits the skyline as it's a box-shielded glass version of Art Deco, which really does combine Art Deco and modern architecture, which I think the skyline is all about. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Also, I'd like to mention, check out my other videos on this series. I have a superlatives video after this, and a retake on a Kansas City building review. So if you've watched my other series where I did St. Louis, it's pretty much the same thing. So yeah, stay tuned for all the videos in the series. I might make a playlist on YouTube or something. So yeah, please stay tuned. Watch all the videos if you're watching this video. And yeah, if you'd like to, feel free to subscribe. However, I'm not forcing you or telling you to. I'm just recommending, because subscribing would really help me out. But you don't have to do it, like I said. Whenever a YouTuber says to subscribe, you don't have to do it. Only if you want to watch more of their content. Also, please like and comment. That way I know that you've been here and saw my videos. Alright, with that out the way, thanks for watching. And for the last time, see you in the next one, or catch you in the next one. Bye!